What if I told you that the secret to aging isn't just a slow, inevitable decline, but an actual battle being fought inside our own DNA? Well, today we're going to zero in on a single gene that plays both hero and villain, our greatest protector, and maybe, just maybe, the very thing that drives aging itself. Just think about that for a second. What if there's one single spot in our entire genetic code that's like the master controller for our biological clock? A tiny location that doesn't just dictate how long we live, but our health span. How well we live as the years go by. Well, it turns out scientists have a prime suspect, and today we're unmasking it. We're talking about a specific genetic location called the INK4A/RF locus. Honestly, it might be the most important gene you've never even heard of. And look, this isn't just some wild guess. Out of all the genes in the human body, the activity at this one spot is literally the single strongest predictor of your chronological age. The connection is it's incredibly consistent. It holds true in different tissues and even across different species, all the way from mice to us. Okay, so what is this thing really? The easiest way to think about it is like a single address in our genome. And at that address, you find the blueprints for two super important proteins, P16INK4A and P19ARF. These two, they're going to be the main characters in our story today. And get this, look at how active it gets over the years. The expression of this gene, basically how often it gets switched on, can jump by 10 times as we go from being young to being old. That is a massive, massive shift in our biology. And here is why all of this really matters. Giant genetic studies have tied this one little spot in our DNA to a whole bunch of diseases we all associate with aging. We're talking heart disease, diabetes, glaucoma, even Alzheimer's. It's like a central hub for all the things that can go wrong as we get older. But, and this is a big but, this is where the story gets really complicated. See, this gene isn't some simple villain. It's more like a double agent. It's playing two completely different roles in our bodies. It is a classic double-edged sword. On the one hand, its main job is absolutely heroic. The INK4A/ARKF locus is one of our body's most powerful guards against cancer. When a cell gets damaged and might turn cancerous, this gene slams on the emergency brakes, stopping that cell from ever multiplying again. It's literally a lifesaver. So here it is. This is the core of the whole paradox. It's our protector, for sure, but the very tool it uses to stop cancer, forcing damaged cells into this permanent sleep state called senescence, that same process seems to be a huge driver of aging. It saves us from one massive threat, only to create another. So you have to ask, at what cost? And for a long time, the main scientific theory was basically that, yeah, this trade-off is worth it. The aging part was seen as, and this is a direct quote, a tolerable toll you pay for the incredible benefit of stopping tumors. A necessary evil, you could say. But good science is all about poking holes in old ideas. And when researchers started to really dig in, the whole story took a completely unexpected turn, which led to this fascinating new paradox. I mean, it leads to a pretty logical question, doesn't it? If this gene is pro-aging, then if we just get rid of it, we should live longer, right? Well, not quite. In what was a pretty stunning twist, the evidence from animal studies started pointing in the complete opposite direction. The results were they were completely backward from what you'd expect. They found that mice with a slight increase in these protective proteins actually lived longer. And it wasn't just because they were getting less cancer. Crazier still, in some studies, when they got rid of a related protector gene, it actually made the mice age worse. The whole simple story was just falling apart. So all of this brings us to a much smarter, way more elegant explanation. It turns out this gene isn't simply good or bad. Its effect on us is all about context. It's a really delicate balancing act between damage and response. Here's the new way of thinking. The gene itself is not the villain. Its activity is actually a healthy protective response. The real issue is the mountain of cellular damage we accumulate over a lifetime, which forces this protective system into permanent, frantic overdrive. Okay, let's walk through it. Step 1, a cell gets damaged. Simple enough. Step 2, our hero gene swoops in and activates to contain the threat. But step 3, over decades, this kind of damage happens everywhere, all the time. And that leads to the final step. The system just gets overwhelmed.
That constant emergency brake being pulled starts to wear out our tissue's ability to repair themselves, and that is what we feel as aging.
So look, if you only remember one thing from all of this, let it be this. The INK4A/RF locus isn't a pro-aging gene. It's a pro-health protective system. It's just that it can be pushed so hard for so long that its actions end up becoming harmful. The problem isn't the firefighter, it's the size of the fire. And that leaves us with this incredible, thought-provoking question for the future. If aging is really about this system being overwhelmed, then could we one day find a way to fine-tune that balance? Not by shutting the system down, but by helping it out, reducing the damage, making our tissue stronger. Could we fine-tune this response to extend not just how long we live, but how well we live? That right there is the billion-dollar question that's driving the entire future of longevity research.